afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting and everything amazing Propagandacast from your host, Imperial Dane, the one, the only master of propaganda. Off it, 1 vs 1 on the newly overhauled Faymonville Approach. In the north, it is Godisanastronaut here, fighting for America, freedom, democracy. The 6th Armored Division. Taking on the south, it is Jesulin, fighting for the Oberkommando West, Germany, Deutschland. Forming up here, the 112th Panzer Brigade. With Ground Defense, Overwatch and Luftwaffe Ground Forces with Infantry, Sturmpani and Medical Supplies versus Recon Support, Heavy Cavalry and Airborne with double Infantry and Grenade Bulletins there for Godisanastronaut. His Jesulin's bravely foraging their way southwards there for the Riflemen. Heading northwards here, we got Jesulin with Fultgundis and Sturmpanis. And always please remember to like, subscribe and share and press that bell button so, YouTube is more likely to remind you the videos exist. Also, while we're at it, big thanks to Pillow for pledging on Patreon and supporting the mighty Propagandacast. Big thanks to you, Pillow. You're part of my company here. Also part of my company here is Christopher for donating and supporting the Propagandacast through his hard-earned money as well. So big thanks to both of you. You're all wonderful, charming, handsome people I'm most sure of. Fulton header Sturmpani securing territory rapidly up, and of course, notice one of the big changes, of course, is this just a lot of what I call less of what I call dead space, which is just territory that you just can't interact with, which really just serves no other purpose than just being an absolute annoyance. And that was one of the issues with North Faymonville Approach. There's a lot of dead territory just really being a nuisance. Anyway, double Fulton in this one, Sturmpani versus double Rifle there and one reaction squad. But possible engagement, also worth noting here. No heavy any cover at all, in fact right next to the opponent's bases. Similarly, well, not quite as much. This is really, the pin wasn't really an issue here. It was basically here the pin was an actual issue there. And this Rifleman being pushed back by the Fultgundis. Third Rifle's got on the way there for Godisanastronaut. Up north here, Rifleman versus Sturmpani. And of course, worth noting there's been a slight change then by buildings position as well. So, for example, it's not right next to the fuel point, which was sort of also slightly an issue before. And bit of skirmishing here. Bit of a slow one there. Could be one wild one in particular. We got Jesulin up more infantry, in which case Riflemen will have to retreat in the south. More territory being grabbed there. Imagine Godisanastronaut will be going for some tech soon here versus Jesulin. Riflemen slowly being bled out there by Jesulin's furious fighters as they keep at it for the fatherland. And there you go, Riflemen to push back. Got a few kills. Well, actually, got one to kill him before they took a lot of damage, had to retreat themselves. Going for the cutoff point here, though it's not really cutting off much, but of course, is setting up a presence right outside Jesulin's space, which you can't really ignore, to be honest. Try on the way there for Jesulin. Up north here, points being secured still. Sturmpani's falling back a bit. And we got the platoon command post going up there for Godisanastronaut and the 6th Armored Division as it and the 112th Panzer Brigade continue to clash in dominance for this area. Schwere Wehrmacht over there mobilized for Jesulin and Deutschland. Rifleman setting out, almost done there. Jesulin's got the western point. Folks from there slightly pulling back as well. Going at this, well, rushing straight for the house here. Who will get to it first? Looks like in this case, though, he decides to back off simply because there's a lot of Germans outside of the building, so if he were to pop into it, he'd get shot. No, instead, Jesulin does the same. Now he's the one to get shot in his men there, since again, it's not really an infantry building. This building is very much only designed in mind with machine guns, since there's only one window. Well, light machine gun units can sort of also do the trick, but really, it needs to be something with a good rate of fire out any of those windows, and rifles simply won't cut it. Meanwhile, here, just trying to sneak about it, going for the cut point, or the point in the northeast. Again, it's not really leading to anything, so at the moment, it's not really cutting off anything. It's to call it a cut-off point would be to exaggerate its current tactical importance, therefore, Godisanastronaut. Folks are moving ahead here. Sturmbar's bringing the Lieutenant Rifle there, quickly closing them down. They're not good there for Jesulin. I imagine, yep, we got the mechanized command post going up there for Godisanastronaut. Rather than being slowly bled out here by Jesulin's infantry. Of course, got something up there, still denying the building. Up northeast, Sturmpani is almost there, right near the also in a pretty poor condition. Godisanastronaut likely is going to go for an ambulance after the fast M20 has stood light tank. But I think he will wait a bit before going for that. We got the mechanized regiment up for Jesulin, Lux's Pumas, but of course for now an MG-34 to keep those Americans' head down to the dirt, preferably permanently. First option chosen is Jesulin with the Luftwaffe ground forces basking in the sun after, well, the Fallschirmjägers actually got buffed. Who would have thought? M20 on the way there for Godisanastronaut. Troops they're reinforcing. Bit of healing there as well for Jesulin and the 112th Panzer Brigade, now backed up by elements of the 3rd Fallschirmjäger Regiment. Fun fact, as the war went on, in fact by 1944-45 there were a lot of Fallschirmjäger divisions being raised, by most of them pretty much were only Fallschirmjäger in name, and in fact were roughly more on the level of a Volksgrunddivision. That is, they had a few veterans sort of back them up, but mostly they were basically just people quickly recruited into the division, just formed up with mostly a few weeks of training. So, little fun fact there. And they didn't even have the iconic Fallschirmjäger helmet, for example. They had to make do with regular Stahl helmets and MD-34s and 42s and no FD-42s. So, little, again, sort of fun note there. Ambulance following up there for Gott ist ein Astronaut. There we go. Got the M20 out there for Godisanastronaut. Quickly popping in the armaments as well there to increase its durability versus the naughty crouch. Got Raffen opening up. The M20, of course, joining in there with 50 caliber mounted on top. Pushing further north, we've got Raffen versus Volksgrenadiers. Sturmgewehr slowly on the way there for Jesulin's Volksgrenadier. And we got the Lux on the way there. The leichte Aufklärungspanzer 2 Lux, which means links for those unawares. MD-34 now on the M20 utility car there. Volks moving ahead there. Should be adding some assault rifles soon, I imagine. M20 goes for the MD-34, of course, hitting Jesulin at Explorer's Point. Not sure why it's not retreating. He might, I think he's trying to use it as bait to get like troops close enough to Panzerfaust to maybe draw into something else, but it's kind of risky there for Jesulin. But there you go. It does successfully push it back. Some light shots there to the rear, not really making much of an impact. Godisanastronaut maintaining, I say, good map control here versus Jesulin. But Jesulin is obviously looking to contest that, and he very much will be doing so with the Lux in a few moments. Nope, by the way, Godisanastronaut is going for the bazooka and the lieutenant. Like anticipating the Lux, he hasn't seen anything for some time, so assuming your opponent's gone for Lux at this point is probably not a bad idea. Jesulin himself, not far off from being able to go for the Fallschirmjäger. Seizing the southern point here with a few sandbags being chucked down. Blazing dropping out the Volks close range for the M1 carbines, but they're still quite outgunned. We got the Volks moving from the north, M20 from the south, catching the Volks in a bit of a crossrun. Got the MD-34 trying to back this all up, but not quite successfully doing so. Got the Lux out, and we got Jesulin alternating in Fallschirmjägers. So that's going to be a double punch here. This is Godisanastronaut, rather than taking heavy fire from the Lux. MD-34 being hosed down with the lieutenant as they retreat right past. And with this, Godisanastronaut has launched a successful push, actually cutting off Jesulin from all of his territory except the far south one. At the same time, he's launched a raid himself on Godisanastronaut's southern field point there. So a lot of action going on here. Got looks like northward, still light tank following up there for Godisanastronaut to help deal with Jesulin's lighter Aufklärungspanzer to push that one back for democracy. Back here, troops healing and enforcing. Lieutenant there standing about. We got the Volks coming up. They're going to get caught here by the M20 and of course the lieutenant. The lieutenant here is basically acting like sort of a blocking element there to deal with the Lux. Note here, he's firing at the ground because he's worried about M6 mines. Because if Godisanastronaut lays down an M6 mine, he of course drives the Lux into it. That Lux is either dead or close to dead. So we can certainly sense here that while most players would not take the M20 and M6 anti-tank mine like in a serious threat here, Jesulin is taking no chances. Got the M5A1 stood out here, they've got an astronaut now. That's going to make things difficult for the Lux and of course also for Jesulin's infantry. As Jesulin right at the moment does not have any anti-tank weapons. I mean, he could go for the Puma here, or he could go for like Kedenef. We'll have to see what he goes for. Grabbing the northern fuel point here with the Fallschirmjäger. Lux quick back up. He's like my push with the northern big 2 point. There you go. Got the Student here. The Sturmpanzer's caught laying down mines. Going straight here for the Lux. Lieutenant Barway, very low in health and taking a lot of punishment there from Jesulin's infantry. Lux falling back. Got the Stuart there routing the Sturmpioniere with its mighty 37mm gun. M20 there being fixed up with the vehicle crew. Stuart falling back for a bit here. Godisanastronaut still without a doctor though. I would say the more time that passes, the more likely I think it is going to be heavy cavalry. But there's always room for surprises. Noting we got BARs right as well there for Godisanastronaut's infantry. Reactions added, likely for A bazookas, but also imagine B minesweepers, since he has noticed Jesulin laying down mines, and thus, you know, going for a minesweeper would be a pretty good move here by Godisanastronaut to ensure his men, you know, for example, don't lose any feet, or anything more than that. Puma almost done there for Jesulin, the 234-2. Folks, they're being bled out. Up north here we got the Fallschirmjäger versus the riflemen there. Godisanastronaut in this case just retreating rather than trying to maybe sort of fight an engagement or buy time for something else right to swing it around. He basically decides just retreating now and avoiding and also feeding the fight to make it more experience is the best idea. That's probably the right idea there. Oh, Fulton there getting close enough to Panzerfaust the M20 though at the same time. Well, Jesulin does have something to maybe punish with. He's got the Puma moving in. Of course, he'll need to keep a safe distance. He doesn't get blown to bit. But there you go. Good hit from the Puma on the Stuart light tank. The 50mm gun there, quickly piercing the Stuart's armor. Another excellent hit there. The Stuart there quickly being filled with large 50mm holes. Looks there, right next to the rifle. Apparently a bit slow there to catch up with the fact they are allied infantry that it needs to deal with. There you go, rifle being murdered. Puma backed off, but it does give here Godisanastronaut the time need to pull back the M20 and the Stuart to avoid death by looks. Well, at least in theory it does. As Jesulin quickly seizes upon this and tries to land some more devastating hit there versus Godisanastronaut. Almost got to wipe down the rifle from the looks. Ambulance also kicking the devil out of there, as again he does not want to lose that either here to Jesulin and his motorized raids, or mechanized raids. There you go, bazooka fire from Jesulin's rockets flung in the general direction of the looks. Some of them connect though, others not quite so much. And now Jesulin has, with his aggressive light vehicle tactics, swung the map back in his favour, leaving Godisanastronaut a bit dazed and reeling. 50 Caliber following up to help deal with Jesulin's infantry to extend also the Puma. Jesulin meanwhile is playing up and down the machine gun to help control the field further versus Godisanastronaut's infantry. Very good pick there by Jesulin. Got the Faymonville moving up there, engaging the lieutenant there. Quickly seeing casualties there though. In the south, I'm trying to there at betting 209 kills. I imagine Jesulin will be taking up soon enough, and you can see get up the Schwer punted quarters. He can of course get up extra fights to Diego Giveres for the fights makers, increasing the lethality here versus Godisanastronaut's infantry. Godisanastronaut by the way still remaining without a doctrine here. We have hit the 12-minute mark and he is still not displaying, to say, any keenness on that. Seems a bit hesitant, if one might say so. Puma need some good fixing there. Infantry moving ahead. 50 caliber moving out as well. There's Stuart setting out as well. Another 50 caliber here for Godisanastronaut. Quickly turning hard there on Jesulin's infantry. And to again lesser degree of the Puma. The looks isn't really sort of easily countered by the 50 caliber with the armor piercing rounds, as the Puma can be dealt with it. Rather than getting shot to tiny fine chunks here. That's Godisanastronaut going straight there for Jesulin and his Jaguar. Up north, push there. The fights make us overwhelmed here by Godisanastronaut's infantry, backed up with the light tanks, taking 50 caliber out. He can soon begin taking up their 4 armor, which would I think be a good idea for Godisanastronaut versus Jesulin. As for Jesulin, of course, taking up himself could be a good idea. We'll have to see what it ends up with. Northern East being seized, got the Sud moving out there for Godisanastronaut. Southern Point being claimed as well by the 6th Armoured Division. By Democracy. And there you go, looks versus the Sud up north. Plus the bazooka on the lieutenant. Not a good engagement with that looks, and it is very quick to fall back. With 50 goes there go, there's a bit of blind spot here, which Jesulin's infantry is quick to exploit with Brandhand Granate to flash it out. That's going to be a treat there, I think, for Godisanastronaut. This, well, he could also just realise the machine gun is lost and just go, well, no mind, he tried to actually get it out of there. And there you go, with this, Jesulin here punishes Godisanastronaut for no extended flank. Almost got the Stuart there with the Panzerfaust, in which case the Puma likely will be able to finish it off there. He does get the machine gun at the very least, leaving Jesulin now with 3 machine guns versus Godisanastronaut just with 1. Bit of a bad development there, but there you go. Looks like he might extend the Puma here versus the Rifle Squad and the Stuart here. There we go, down to less health. Can the Stuart finish it off there? Of course, he's using some stun shots to gain some extra hits. So they've got Fulton nearby. He's almost got it. It's going to be a close one there. It's going to be a close one. There we go. Gets the Puma. Certainly turns the table around there for Godisanastronaut once more. What he did lose machine gun, getting rid of the Puma is huge for his light vehicles, though. There's certainly a good chance here of losing the Stuart, but then again, maybe not. The Fultons can't get the cooldown fast enough here, and they're being murdered here by all of Godisanastronaut's light vehicles. Very good there. We got air support in here from Jesulin, a bit of smoke there as well, probably to help support through the centre. Fulton's moving up, picking a proper grenade at it. Jesulin's almost taken out. There you go. Gabalta Ladung through the smoke, through the air, and there we go. Not quite like they quite care. Machine gun almost taken out there. Pops up here. Engaging up close at point blank with the 5th cover. There we go. Almost got it. He just needs the looks of him to finish it off here, but then ends up retreating, giving, I think, Godisanastronaut time to get the 5th cover out of there. Still no take up there further from Godisanastronaut. Jesulin, meanwhile, has brought up the Schwer Panzer quarters. Sehr good. Which, of course, opens up for Fallschirmjägers getting the remaining 2 Fallschirmjäger Gewehrs. We shall see, of course, if he decides to seize upon this opportunity. Godisanastronaut there, healing, reinforcing, equipping his men with more guns, but no tech up. Remains, interestingly, non-committant to teching there. Fallschirmjäger being reinforced. Holding a sizable chunk at the front. The north side is quite exposed, despite having multiple machine guns. He's not quite able to sort of maintain the front line. Mortar following up, you've got Godisanastronaut. Very good response here to all these support weapons from Jesulin. Another Puma, though. I'm not so sure that's the best move here by Jesulin. I mean, the Puma, of course, is a faster counter to the Stewart and the M20, but at the same time, one wonders if he just shouldn't have gone for the Kedma, then gone to try to take out for some medium armor. Meanwhile, Godisanastronaut is now taking up this, so he's going to be able to get out tanks now ahead of Jesulin, which could leave Jesulin in a bit of a precarious situation depending on how he handles things coming next. Fallschirmjäger getting veterans 1, a little star to add. In the center here we got Godisanastronaut launching assault there, completely overwhelming Jesulin in central positions. They've got a 5th cover, they're quickly backing it up there. And at least I would say stemming the flow somewhat there, but perhaps not enough. Stewart Aslo while engaging all of the Jesulin's infantry there. Mortar also being moved forwards here to provide vital artillery support there for Godisanastronaut's frontline infantry versus Jesulin and this dastardly band of Huns. The Bazooka teams are struggling to gain the sufficient action. There we go, though, landing some hits on the looks. North Front being shot, we got 250 versus 421. Jesulin certainly needs to do something drastic to gain make 2 points back here, since he is at a rather startling pace bleeding out here. Back here, troops reinforcing, smoke screen off there from Godisanastronaut on the centre, probably allow him to grab the machine gun back here to avoid losing another 5th cover head to Jesulin. Wise decision there, but he could have used the mortar to lay down the smoke screen instead and not spend 50 munitions on that. Of course, he might have worried he didn't have the time for that to begin, so, I mean, there's supposed to be an argument for the alacrity of an off-map smoke barrage, but certainly something to keep in mind. Troops in reinforcing. Battalion command post remaining silent. Of course, he does have option. There you go. More or less as expected. We got the Heavy Cavalry company up there for Godisanastronaut. He's likely just going to push straight for a Pershing here versus Jesulin. Further punishing Jesulin here, I think, for a second Puma. In fact, it might be why he might just decide to go straight for it. Even though we got the check up finally there, the Schwer Panzer Quarters authorization. But he still only has a Puma versus the Pershing. So again, it feels like a bit of a bad call there. But Jesulin maybe just came down to pressure or some other things. But I mean, it very much leaves a large Pershing-shaped gap in his force capabilities there, which is one Godisanastronaut is going to exactly wedge a Pershing into. So this could end up a bit ugly there for Jesulin. And he will need more firepower to back it up. There we go, but I got the Fallschirmjägers final upgrade with the second pair of F-242s. Overall increase in their firepower now, of course, significantly. Straight into the suppressor fire of the 5th caliber. 225 versus 415. Almost got the Sturm Panzers with a good mortar hit. Very good. Lieutenant almost taken out though. 2 kills in the mortar. Godisanastronaut. The current pace is sometime away still from the Pershing, but Jesulin is even further away from me. Say something as simple as a Yak Panzer IV. We're landing a few nice hits. The cluster into 1, trying to take out that Stewart light tank. There we go. Another splendorous hit. We got the right members of the Lukes, but being suppressed as well here. 5th cover joining in. Artillery fire shattering here the area around Jesulin's base. making things further difficult for me. Probably shouldn't be attacking head on. He should probably look to either sort of exploit the path through the south and outmaneuver Godisanastronaut position there, or try and breach for the north. I think a head-on assault without artillery is not going to necessarily be the best development there for Jesulin. Of course, I could be wrong. It's not to say it can't work, but it might end up taking a lot longer than he would like to, and certainly might involve a lot more perils. Troops being suppressed there. Godisanastronaut more than happy to at least give Jesulin some ground to sort of move forward into before then flanking maybe and dealing with them. That's also an option. Of course, they could be baiting Jesulin into extending. We'll see if that is the case. They're taking a hit from the Puma. Veterans on the 234-2. Another hit than the Stuart light tank. Almost got it. In fact, quickly getting towards Veteran 2, which is great for Jesulin, but a bit of a problem for Godisanastronaut if the Puma gets that far. And the South French makes advancing. A lone mission here against the Yankees. As all of Godisanastronaut since now being towards the centre, that does mean that Jesulin can make some good efforts in the south. Godisanastronaut is roughly a minute away from the Pershing, and Jesulin is, well, at least a couple of minutes away from the Jagdpanzer, which would be his best pick to dealing towards the Pershing, since a Panzer IV obviously would be a very weak pick. In the South French Mega C, Veteran 2, 8 kills versus the M20 with 18 kills from Veteran 3, ace level. So Puma like Kedmeth versus the Pershing, still going to be rather stacked odds there against Jesulin, but a little less horrifically so with the Kedmeth to back up the Puma. So there you go, the Kedmeth out there for Jesulin. In the south, Fallschirmjäger need to retreat before the Stuart light tank and the M20 basically turn them into compost. Got the 234-2 Schwerer Panzerschwerwagen. Puma moving in. Shoots and misses, unfortunate. Except unless you've got Godisanastronaut, in which case it's great. German 50 cover there, Veteran 2. Looks hammering away, and there you go. Godisanastronaut here at the trench room in the mount. Can go for the Pershing, and Godisanastronaut again has a Puma, and I can try and stop that with. So that'll be interesting to see how that works out. I mean, in theory, it's not impossible, but it will be quite difficult. It'd be like, you know, being invited to, you know, a royal dinner with the Queen, and somehow you're trying to impress her by using plastic cutlery brought from home, or perhaps the local McDonald's. You know, it's not impossible, but it's going to be one hell of a challenging man to set yourself. And the question is, why didn't you just bloody well use what's set before you? Anyway, Stuart there pushing back the Fultz Grenadiers. Okay, representing out. There we go, directly from the Pershing, the Luke's light tank there, causing grievous damage. Puma managed to penetrate and hit the frontal arm of the Pershing. Really lucky shot there for Jesulin. Second shot, obviously less lucky. Easily bounces off the Pershing, and there you go, troops being suppressed here. He can go for the Jagdpanzer soon. He could go for the Panzer IV, but I definitely feel like that would be a potentially disastrous move. I mean, Panther, Jagdpanzer here, I think would be the optimal choices for Jesulin. At least in my humble opinion. I suppose he really wants to go for the Panzer IV, he can, but I would not necessarily proclaim that to be the best possible move Jesulin could commit himself to. Fixing up the M26 Pershing heavy tank. Fun fact, after the war it was actually downgraded to medium tank, or at least redesignated as medium tank, is probably a better way to put it. And they actually began a program to convert them to M48 patterns, but I think they sort of at some point just gave up and just stopped doing that entirely. So, little fun note there. Got the looks there with ambush mode or cautious movement. Probably intending to use it as a scout, but maybe also it's a surprise. Godisanastronaut a bit there. Pershing moving ahead here. Falls to the caught in the middle of the road, and well, got blasted to dirt in the middle of the road. Push from the north here, falls to the machine gun there, forming up a very thinly held frontage. Another 5th cover there for Godisanastronaut. Sometime for Heavy Armour. Jesulin can now go for the Panther. I imagine that's what he's going to go for now. He doesn't have the battle group headquarters, so King Tiger is obviously not happening anytime soon, and would I think be a bad call there by Jesulin. Panther would be the most optimal choice there. Good rate of fire, good range, good armor, at least decent rate of fire. Mechanical shoots misses, but he needs to go for it now. I mean, is he really playing for the King Tiger though? That would be absolutely bananas. Looks moving in, gaining veteran 4 there. 22 kills, units being slowly murdered out here. Up north, big push to the Pershing, machine guns being destroyed and regained there by, well, in this case the MD-54 was being claimed, not regained. Walls crumbling there, we got artillery called in the MD of a Kevlar position. Jesulin's in a really tight spot, and there you go, got the Panther on the way there for Jesulin and the 112th Panzer Brigade. As his entire holdings are quickly being disassembled there by Godisanastronaut. Major leg being blasted by the Schwerer Panzer quarters. And the 54 being outmaneuvered and routed. Got Stuka smoke that comes out here for Jesulin. Schwerer Panzer quarters firing there, there you go, crashing down into the ground, exploding violently. Panther out, the Panzerkampfwagen 5th Gefechtsbereich there for Jesulin. Infantry advancing through the centre here, Raketen moving up there, will Jesulin be able to launch a sufficient counterattack that shatters Godisanastronaut's confidence and more importantly his Pershing. Panther moving up, engaging with its 75mm high velocity gun. Pershing has already taken heavy damage though from Jesulin and is being slowly pushed back here. Pinmont machine being added to the Panzerkampfwagen 5th. Full to the being pushed back though by intense fire and the fact the building end is about to collapse on them. Bazooka fire harmlessly pings off the Panther's frontal armour. Almost got the Pinmont machine ready. There you go. Rayson's being cut ribbons out in the open. Now forget the Panther's machine guns are actually kind of effective as an infantry. There you go. Rayson's almost wiped out. In fact, mostly by the Panther. With a few extra shots than looks. And there you go. Another hit here. Rifling slowly bled out there. Pershing moving ahead again here. Godisanastronaut probably needs to be careful about these kind of moves all of a sudden. Looks by the veteran 4, close to veteran 5 in fact. So sees the south very good, could also try and seize the north there. Some good maneuvering there for Jesulin. But he still needs to deliver some more dramatic blows there, I think, towards Godisanastronaut to improve his chance of actually winning this. We've got 137 versus 395. Far to make flanking from the south here, but it's already spotted here by the M20 that is easily allowing here. Godisanastronaut react with his 50 caliber and rifleman, putting a halt there to Jesulin's south flank. And that's going to be retreating unless he wants the fighting maybe to die horribly, which might be the case. It looks finally explodes as it takes too much damage there from Godisanastronaut's Pershing and bazookas. Removing a linchpin there of Jesulin's plan for dealing with all of Godisanastronaut's infantry and support weapons. 20 striking southwards there, going straight for the 50 caliber, which did not get the armor piercing rounds ready in time, in which case it might have had a chance as the M20. Troop ceiling reinforcing. Pioneers close to veteran 3, very good. Godisanastronaut, a rather high prop cap. Others could maybe consider Jackson or Sherman, but he could probably still go for a Scott perhaps. Yes indeed, he just has enough population for the Scott at the moment. So that could be an idea there for him, I suppose. Or he could just lay himself open if he loses a unit and then quickly place in some actual tanks. Or not. Yeah, reinforce something, so I guess that got cancelled. Panther moving ahead. Gonna go for that Pershing. There you go, catching it in a bit of more position, except he can't see typical. That wouldn't be a problem there. We got 3 machine guns versus 2 for a total of 5 machine guns to the battlefield. That's a lot of machine guns. Panther going for the Pershing, directed here, piercing the Pershing front armor. Bazooka the fire raining through there the Panther side armor. Another hit there on both sides. Anti-tank rifle nailed against the Panther, damaging the engine. Looks like Godisanastronaut's going to try and take it out there, charging up with his Pershing. Panther needs to be careful. Shot fired, missed, Puma up north here, trying to flank around, but still got the rifleman coming out the flank there, so that pretty much puts a stop to that. Fightmaker is routed, taking excessive casualties there from the Pershing, which is very close to veteran 2 there. Panther meanwhile is veterans 1 with 6 kills. Situation for Jesulin is looking pretty rough and tumble. Needs to get that Panther fixed up. Schnell needs to join in the fight against the American and as soon as possible. We got 102 versus 395. Hard work that's been acted on the Panther. 100 points left now for Jesulin and the German army. Puma shoots and misses the Pershing. Meanwhile, the Pershing and the attending bazooka team do not miss the Puma. Anything but. Smoking in to try and stop the 5th Cavalry from hosing down the troops. A bit late there for poor Jesulin. Mortar firing down there. Almost got the Panther good to go. Far up north, we got the M20 rushing straight for the MD-34. East level, 24 kills, 25 kills. But there you go. Spare planted quarters delivering some excellent hits. In the centre, the Panther charges at the Pershing, only being stopped here by the Steward. Firing stun shots, blinding the Panther's vision block. There they go. Panther can't really do anything against the Pershing now, which is Veteran 2. Need to get the Panther out of there. The situation for Jesulin is not improving. The lack of artillery is making it harder for him to actually break through Godisanastronaut. Stranglehold there, go. Rob's got wiped out. A small victory for Jesulin here in a sea of mystery. Got more Falsmakers dropping in there. Eventually, 3 Falsmakers dropping the empty machine gun there. In fact, quickly clearing it out there with the power of the FD-42s and all the veterancy. Very good there. Unless you're Godisanastronaut, in which case, of course, you do want nuclear machine guns in. There you go. Jesulin is launching a hard counterattack here. Godisanastronaut center there is melting away like ice cream left out in the sun. And why would you do that? Panther falling back, but he's managed to claim the centre victory point. Grab support weapons here like the machine guns and turn them against Godisanastronaut. There goes second machine about to go down here as well. Close to 54 there. Another machine gun team down here. Godisanastronaut is suffering punishing casualties here. A strong counter-attack there by Jesulin. Of course, need to remember to grab all of the weapons he dropped by Godisanastronaut and set them up again, because again, a lot of machine guns could make it much harder for Godisanastronaut to really sort of, make those gains back again. There you go. 5th Cavalry napped here. Panther being hauled back for repairs. Panther will be a good addition now to help deal with the infantry. Though, of course, you could also just grab machine guns, go for Yak Panther to back up the Panther, which will help further deal with the Pershing. Godisanastronaut definitely wants to get some armor now that he actually has the population cap freed up. He wants tank destroyers or tanks, just something with a bit more punch versus the Panther, which has now gained Veteran 2 and access to the Jesulin. Ooh, got the 5th Cavalry back there for like a few beautiful seconds before the Germans crashed that reality with their FD-42s. But they're getting suppressed and forced to retreat. All 3 extra points back in control here of Jesulin and the 112th Panzer Brigade. There's down to 38 versus the 373 of Godisanastronaut and the 6th Armored Division. Panther's dragging for the fatherland. Shown away for Godisanastronaut on the 6th Armored. Pershing straight ahead here. 5th Cavalry not able to do much. The Puma, the Lance, the Panther lands a good hit on the Pershing. Second Falcon scored completely almost annihilated there. Bomb grenade off. Lots of bazooka teams there. Panther has to be careful around all of those bazookas. Plus the Pershing, of course, there go landing some good hits. Half H of actually free. Sherman halfway down there. What is Jesulin going to go for? He's going to go for another Panther. I mean, another Panther here would also be an interesting pick. I mean, 2 Panthers could prove to be an unsurmountable effort there for Godisanastronaut to deal with. So that could be an idea there for Jesulin. So there goes. Shot bounces off the Panther's armor. Flying off. Shot fired. Missed the M20 there. Another shot fired. More bazooka hits there. Sherman almost done. And there goes Sherman out for Godisanastronaut. Jesulin remains in control there, though his south is rather open. Another truck out, so not another Panther here. Might be planning a King Tiger, though I think another Panther would honestly be just a better choice than probably support it, since again that would just be 2 Panthers versus 1 Pershing, which could give maybe the option to then pursue the Pershing and finish it off once and for all, which is by the way half each of Veteran 3 in the southeast. Pershing with the southern victory point there. Very good. 38 versus 305. Puma there, Veteran 2. And the Pershing's on the move there again. Puma there taking hits from the bazookas. Group headquarters up there. Machine guns annihilated. A devastating blow there to Jesulin and the 112th Panzer Brigade. His forces are suddenly being much more extended. Again, this is where the 2nd Panther probably helped us the Pershing just to maybe finish it off. Or just the Panther to help clear out the infantry. Either way, though, I feel like the Battle Group headquarters at this timing is a bit of a weak choice. In the South German around the Sturmpioniere. Losing the centre one, at which point the bleed against Jesulin will begin once more. Fallschirmjägers they're very, very close to 5 there, 26 kills, excellent. And there goes Jackson Technical following up here for Godisanastronaut, further increasing the amount of armour he's got to bring to bear there against Mr. Jesulin. Panther moves ahead here, and there go a lot of fire there. Close to 53 on the Panther, but the bolts are more disturbingly forgot Jesulin. Almost close to being destroyed as well. 33 versus 285. Need to get that Panther fixed up fast. It needs to go for either another Panther, Panzervolt, Jagdpanzer. The only thing I really feel like he can't afford to go for right now is a King Tiger. Like, time is just not on his side to allow for a King Tiger. Quite the opposite. Sherman holding on. Panther being fixed up. Pershing shoots and blasts a few more unfortunate German infantry to bits. Fallschirmjäger is very, very close to the ace level there. 23-22 versus 185. As Reconnaissance calling some smoke there as well. Panther they're very, very close to the ace level. Oh man, the ace level eventually 3. Which in November, Panther would be the ace level, but in the overcon rest of course you got 2 levels more. Shot fire, missed. Panther rolling ahead, these shots bouncing off the armour. Puma holding up as well in reserves. Around the centre victory point there, courtesy of the smoke from there by the Luftwaffe. Bazooka causing quite a bit of harm there to the Puma. Sherman flanking up here, might try and outmaneuver here just in centre position. Panther very, very, very close to the field. We've got the two teams up there. We've got Fallschirmjägers forces coming that flank here. No FT-42s in the 2nd Fallschirmjäger squad. Panther down to half health. No sign of additional Panther still here for Jesulin. Fallschirmjägers forces being obliterated out in the open. Panther gaining eventually free finally. Nearly forces yet. Fallschirmjägers almost being slaughtered like sheep. Panther incredibly close there to eventually free though, but Jesulin's front line is collapsing. He's down to just 15 points here versus Godisanastronauts 285. His forces are dilapidated. And his Panther sadly is struggling a bit there versus all of Godisanastronaut's bazookas. And of course the Pershing, which he's sadly not quite dealing with either. Again, it seems like he was trying to set up for the King Tiger, but again, that would definitely been a wrong call there for Jesulin with his current situation, and some seem to have been proven like that. I mean, had he managed to bring up a 2nd Panther soon enough, I think he could have a better chance here versus Godisanastronaut. This is now. I would say his chances of winning this are very slim. Valiant assault here. Last heroic, last-ditch effort there by Jesulin. There you go. Panther's main gun out, and with that, Jesulin surrenders. GG, game over here. A resounding victory for Godisanastronaut here on Faymonville Approach, with a lot of good action between both sides. And then I feel like Jesulin overfocused too much in the centre, not destroying his opponent's resource lines enough, but also just not maneuvering, trying to catch his opponent off guard. I feel like that certainly slowed down Jesulin a lot more and made it easy for Godisanastronaut to deal with him. Godisanastronaut meanwhile had good use of support weapons, machine guns, mortars, and overall handled his armour I think quite well there. So well played there by Godisanastronaut and Jesulin, but in the end Mr. Godisanastronaut played a bit better. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it, tell your friends, tell your family, but don't tell your enemies. This is Imperial Links and cheers. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you all tomorrow again for a nice episode